Today's our biggest news day of the week, so let's jump right into it. Pound CPI numbers were released this morning and came out better than expected, forecasted at 10.7%, but actually came out to 11.1%. Core CPI was projected to drop 0.1%, but came out unchanged, staying at 6.5%. This is great news for a currency that has been very bearish as of late. Canadian CPI was released as well, but missed expectations slightly, rising to 6.9% year over year. Lastly, U.S. retail sales beat projections, coming out at 1.3%. Bullish news for the dollar after some disappointing CPI and PPI numbers. Now, with all that, we're going to check out the Edge Finder. All right, so here we are inside of the Edge Finder, but we are not starting in the score chart summary today. We are starting in our inflation page because I'm showing you guys exactly why you need the Edge Finder for yourself. As we just mentioned, CPI for both the pound and the Canadian dollar came out today. And here we can actually see this is our inflation page, and take a look at this. Pound and Canadian dollar, CPI, November 16th, that's today. And this shows you our previous value, 10.1%, our current value, 11.1%. And again, Canadian dollar, 6.9% here. That's our CPI numbers that were released this morning.
Hey, I have a secret. We're doing 40% off our VIP community now. Trade alerts, chat rooms, and more. Click the link in our description with code A1YT.
In fact, I'm going to mess with this slider just a little bit so I can show you some of the other features of the Edge Finder. I'm going to go to the year 2000, so 2000 to 2022. Here's what our CPI looks like over the past 22 years, essentially. This is why you need the Edge Finder for yourself, because these numbers came out this morning, and as we know, with the Edge Finder, it's getting updated every hour. So even though CPI numbers came out this morning, the Edge Finder is already updated, keeping you up to date with the most recent information, November 16th, today that I'm recording this video with the CPI news, and we can see current value 11.1% and 6.9%. As I just reported to you, the Edge Finder is just such an amazing tool because it gives you all of the data in one spot, whether you're trading technicals, fundamentals. The Edge Finder is going to help you out because it's giving you just that confirmation. It's making your trading safer by giving you confirmation saying the fundamentals are lining up with the technicals. Don't just trade solely because the Edge Finder is telling you to buy. As we know, markets are volatile and they can shift, but this gives you that extra bit of confidence going into a trade. And again, of course, we're doing our Edge Finder Black Friday sale, 40% off with code A1YT. So this is our biggest sale of the year, 40% off, a huge discount on the product. You can find that in the link down in the description below. Again, code A1YT for 40% off the Edge Finder, fundamental, seasonality, retail, COT, all this stuff, our Fed tracker, of course, our currency pairs, commodities, indices, so much good stuff here in the Edge Finder. So again, 40% off, code A1YT. All right, so I think that it's only fair that we catch up on GBP CAD, but it does have a neutral score. So I'm gonna not even really break down GBP CAD. I just wanna go through the fundamentals really quickly so that we can see our updated inflation data here. But this is such a neutral score that I don't think that it's totally worth going through at the moment, because all the way through. But fundamentally speaking, I just wanted to show, again, here you can find that information for both pound and the Canadian dollar, 11.1% inflation and 6.9% inflation updated here in the currency breakdown page. So score chart summary, let's bring everything back in. Our strongest buy of the day is CHF-JPY, which is different than yesterday. I don't remember what our top buy was yesterday. I do remember it was a score of +5. So again, Edge Finder getting updated every hour. We have a new top buy CHF-JPY, strong buy score of +7. Down here, unchanged, Euro NZD, Aussie NZD, GBP NZD, strong sell scores of -7, -8, and -8. So It could be interesting to look at CHF JPY just because it's brand new at the top, score of +7. I think I'm also going to take a look at a US dollar pair, but I'll find that in just a second. So CHF JPY is our top buy of the day, score of +7. COT data has a neutral 0 score, and we can look at that right over here. Both the pound and the Swiss franc are being heavily shorted by the smart money traders. 25.52% long and 74.48% short, compared to 23.61% long and 76.39% short. So institutional traders shorting this pair. Retail traders are agreeing, 18% long, 82% short here from retail traders. That gives us a retail sentiment score of +1. Our COT data is neutral because they're agreeing with each other both on the short side, so not leaning in the direction of one currency over the other. Seasonality score of +1 as well. We can see that our all-time average and last 5-year average have this pair moving in an upward direction going into December. So we could potentially see that. Our trend reading is a score of +2, so that makes it seem like that could be the case, moving in an upward direction. We can look at the daily price chart, and ever since November 11th, so for the past couple days, this market has moved up, had a slight dip downward so far today. So yeah, trend-wise and seasonality-wise are pointing towards this pair continuing to move up, and so is our fundamental section here. Everything leaning in the favor of the Swiss franc, other than inflation, which happens to be a neutral score. So GDP growth, unemployment, and interest rates, all scores of +1, leaning in the favor of the Swiss franc, and we can take a look at that right over here. Yen or Japan GDP growth, -0.3% compared to Switzerland's 0.3%. Unemployment in Japan, 2.6% compared to 1.9%. Inflation, as we saw with our neutral score, is the same at 3%. And lastly, interest rates for Japan, -0.1% compared to the Swiss 0.5%. So fundamentally, trend and seasonality wise, this does seem to be heading in a bullish direction. So that's overall giving us a strong buy signal. Now let's see, I want to go back into the score chart summary and pick out a US dollar pair to take a look at very briefly as well. And we have a whole lot of neutral scores. Euro USD leaning towards sell with a score of -2. NZD USD is our only buy with a score of +3. But the rest of these, even though that these have scores of +1, these are really all neutral, not leaning one way or the other. So I did take a look at a New Zealand dollar pair yesterday, so I think I'm going to take a look at Euro USD. Even though it's not technically a sell, it is leaning towards sell. So Euro USD, going to run through this pretty quickly. Score of -2, like we just mentioned, COT data comes out to a neutral score. Again, because our smart money traders are agreeing that both of these pairs are favorited on the long side. US dollar at 77.17% and the euro at 64.15%, both favored on the long side. Retail traders, not so much, favored on the short side, 68% short, 32% long. Seasonality, if we want to look at this here, we actually see that our all-time average and last 5-year average show upward trends moving into December. In fact, upward trends from October through November through December. And we are seeing a little bit of that here with our current year average. We did have that upward move from from October to November. So we are starting to see that follow trend. Trend reading is a score of +2, and we can see that from October 28th, that's how far this daily chart goes back. From October 28th to today, we've had pretty much nothing but upward move. I mean, a slight dip down here, but really, okay, if you want to say from November 4th, so almost the last 2 weeks, we've had nothing but upward momentum for the pair. But our GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates, that's what's really dragging this pair down, is that the euro is the dollar is beating out the euro in pretty much all of these, in all of these metrics here. So GDP growth for the euro sits at 2.2% compared to the dollar, 2.6%. Unemployment 6.6%, compared to 3.7%. Inflation, 10.7% compared to 7.7%. And lastly, interest rates, 2% compared to 4%. So even though institutional traders are favored long on both the dollar and the euro, our seasonality is telling us that this pair tends to trend upward. Our trend reading is showing that this pair is moving upward. Our fundamental section is showing, the fundamentals are showing euro bearishness compared to the dollar because the dollar is beating it out in every single category. But maybe we'll see a little bit of reversal there. Maybe we'll get some good euro news here in the next couple of days, and some of these things can begin to flip. Now let's check out some currency pair analysis from today's live stream.
So the pound has been trending really well to the upside. Let me show you guys the edge finder on pound USD. So pound USD has been trending to the upside, though I really don't love it long. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a reason why. So inflation came out in the UK, and guys, inflation in the UK hit 11.1%. That is such a cautionary tale to being long the pound, in my personal opinion. And as the pound continues to trend up, I have to be on the side of caution when it comes to, do I really want to buy the pound when inflation in the UK is at 11.1%, rising, while in the US, it's been declining. So you compare notes here and you say, okay, the UK has been trying to raise rates too, but their inflation's going up. Meanwhile, the US has been raising rates and their inflation has been going down. For me, that means I'm buying the dollar. I'm not buying the pound when it comes to this exchange. So pound USD from a fundamental perspective looks not good in my opinion. From a technical perspective, pound USD is trending to the upside. So what do we do with that? And here's a little bit of an educational section here for you. I've done this chart a couple times, but we'll review it for maybe traders who are newer to the streams. By the way, if you're new to the stream, let us know in the chat. It's always good to say hello to new stream viewers, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel. If this is like your first time being here, we do this every day. So you can come back if you're trying to learn to trade, come back and learn for free every day. Hit the thumbs up button like you're seeing on the screen. Would really mean a lot just to supporting the content that we're putting out for free here. So if the fundamentals that I just covered are looking bearish, right? But the technicals are looking bullish, what do? Do you buy it or do you sell it? And if you're a regular viewer, what's up, Luther? What's up, Rodrigo? Thank you for being here. Dwayne is here, new person. Emmanuel, lots of new people. Hey, welcome to the stream, guys. I am glad that you're here, and I think you're in the right place. What's up, Daniel? When I say I think you're in the right place, the reason I say that is because there's a lot of noise on the internet. Trying to learn to trade is not as easy as it seems. There's content everywhere, but real traders who show you real accounts and that sort of stuff are very, very non-existent when it comes to there's very few traders who will show you their real trades, their track records, all that sort of stuff. And I try and do that. I'm by no means the greatest trader on earth, but I will show you real accounts. And I've been doing this for a long time. So I hope that you stick around, come back each day. It's free to do. Come back each day, tune into our live streams and hang out with us. So let me show you. So when I say fundamental and technical, hopefully everyone knows what fundamental analysis means. If you're newer to trading, fundamental analysis is essentially real world reasoning behind why prices go up or down. You know, everyone, when they first get into trading, they focus on the candlestick charts. Everyone goes right to technical charting because technical charting is the most visually appealing, the easiest to understand. And it's what us as human beings, we're like, ooh, shiny chart going up, I can trade that, right? Fundamentals is like the Bank of England raising interest rates and what that's going to impact on the pound. That stuff is boring, it's difficult, but it's really important, in my opinion. So when we cover this on my streams, I talk fundamentals and technicals, and I attempt to break it down for you guys. So at least to the best of my ability. I'm not perfect, but I'll do my best. So make sure to subscribe if you're new. So anyways, fundamentals, if fundamentals are looking weak, but the pound USD from a technical perspective, right? Uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. If that's looking bullish, what do we listen to? Well, here's my opinion. If this is the case, there's nothing to do. There's no trade that I can take. Why? Because again, I like when both of these factors agree. If the fundamentals are bullish and the technicals are bullish, I'll be long. If the fundamentals are bearish and the technicals are bearish, I'll be looking to short. But if they're mixed, I will do nothing. Okay? Type yes in the chat if that makes sense. Type yes or put a Y in the chat. If that makes sense to you, let me know, because it would be helpful if I explain that well. I'll do it again in the future to make sure it resonates well with traders. What lot size should I use with a $2,000 account? That is going to be dependent on which assets you're trading. I would encourage you to use a lot size calculator. You can use those on TradingView, etc. Cool. Thank you guys for the yeses. I appreciate that. Okay. So in this case, let's do an example. Pound USD. Fundamentally, where are we at? Well, we can use the Edge Finder. If you want to combine fundamentals, we can use the Edge Finder. This is why we built the software. I have a company that builds trading software for traders, and this is what we've basically built, is a fundamental scanner. So if I'm looking at the pound and I'm saying, well, let's compare notes. Let's look at GDP growth in the UK. Okay, fundamentally, GDP growth, negative in the UK, strong in the US. Okay, that means I'm favoring the US dollar. Inflation, higher in the UK than in the US, and rising, by the way, in the UK. Where does that leave us? It means I'm favoring the US dollar again, because lower inflation is good, right? Higher inflation is bad. Higher inflation means prices are going to go up like crazy. It's going to be bad for the economy. Consumers are going to be less able to spend money. All that sort of stuff weakens the pound, right? Now, what about unemployment? This one's a pretty obvious one. More jobs, better. Less jobs, worse. So if we see unemployment rising, meaning more people are out of a job, and in the US and UK, they're about the same, though the UK actually has a slightly less rate. So in that category, the UK is winning. What about interest rates? Interest rates, always an important one to pay attention to, because interest rates in the US are higher, and that is more attractive to the currency. And that one gets complicated, but the basic idea you need to remember is that higher interest rates are usually considered an attractive thing for the underlying currency. Okay, so now in each one of these categories, what the Edge Finder does is it scans those things and it brings it over to the Edge Finder score chart, and it punches out a bias. Okay, so we mentioned these things: GDP growth, -1, inflation, -1, unemployment, +1, interest rates, -1. What do the negatives mean? It means it sides with the secondary currency. What do the positive means? It means it sides with the first currency. Okay, so in this case, you're seeing a lot of red here favoring the US dollar, right? That's what we're trying to get at. In this case, which one do we want to buy? Well, I want to buy the US dollar based on these factors, okay, compared to the pound. But we have a big barrier, and this is where the Edge Finder simplifies it. The trend is still up. We see strong upward trending movements on the pound. The GBP is still strong, so I'm not going to be shorting an uptrend. Okay. Now, if this thing flips to the downside, I'll be looking to short it, right? Because if you start getting the technicals to agree, going back to our idea, right? The technicals start to agree, I'll be looking to trade the pound USD short. What would that look like? Well, let's do some charting. You've got this kind of upward trajectory. We'd be looking for support zones to break. So now I'm going to be the bad guy who's looking to short this thing if it starts to fail out. So if we see something like this, I'll be looking for short opportunities on the pound USD. So we've combined fundamentals with technicals. We're saying the fundamentals are pointing bearish, but the technicals are pointing up. Let's wait for the technicals to show signs of reversals, and then we'll look for a trading opportunity in the sell direction. Does that make sense? Type yes in the chat if that was helpful to you. Where do you get the retail sentiment and COT data? We pull that information into the Edge Finder. We have we pull that data from the CFTC's website. You can get it there. The Commitment of Traders data. Now, a lot of these things you can go get them on your own, but it's going to take you an hour to pull up all the information you need to look at for the pound USD. The Edge Finder is an automatic software that pulls up anything you want. And by the way, we just did the pound USD in the last 5 minutes. You can do it for anything you want. You could look it up on the Euro JPY, the Euro NZD, and get a bias based on fundamentals. And the whole idea is it's meant to assist traders with their fundamental analysis. If you don't have the Edge Finder and you want to try it, let me give you access here. For free today, you can get access to the Edge Finder. Try it out. We're going to drop a link in the chat here. And this is a sign-up form that you fill out. You fill this out, you can get a free trial of the Edge Finder. One of our team members will reach out to you and coordinate something with you. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're very serious about trying to combine fundamentals and technicals, that's how I've been able to trade profitably. It really made a world of a difference for me once I started really incorporating fundamentals in my trading approach. Again, charts are cool, but I think you miss some of the full picture. If you're looking at this, you say, wow, this is trending to the upside. It's got to keep going, right? If you're only looking at the chart, but you might miss something where the fundamentals are actually quite weak, and this thing could be ready to drop like a rock. So again, fundamentals are the hidden factor that can be very, very important. And if you want to learn how to use them both, then get access to the Edge Finder. Yes, I sell the Edge Finder. Yep. Our software company sells it. So I trade using the Edge Finder every day myself. It is a fantastic tool, and it is something available for purchase, or you can get access to it for free to try it out using this form right here. Okay.
Make sure you guys check out the links in the description if you need broker recommendations, access to our free Discord, or want to chat with us on Telegram. If you're interested in our trading software, the Edge Finder, you can find that in the description as well. Thanks for watching.